Hey folks, David Thomas Tao. I'm here with VinePair in the New York City HQ, and today we're reviewing something very, very special. In fact, it's called the Old Fitzgerald VVS, or Very, Very Special Release for 2024. It is a 13-year-old bottled and bond wheated bourbon with a particularly interesting pedigree. We're gonna get into that and why it's one of my top bourbons of the year so far for 2024. Old Fitzgerald is the bottled and bond wheated bourbon. These vary in age. They're released a couple times a year. And this one you might notice has a red label. Normally they have green labels. This is the VVS, Very, Very Special. This is actually a bourbon distilled in 1999, shortly after Heaven Hill acquired their Bernheim distillery just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. So let's see how this very, very special bourbon, which was tanked for about 11 years for just the right occasion, let's see how it tastes. Again, 100 proof, bottle and bond. Okay, yeah. Y'all, this nose is, it's really good. It's got like everything that I want a bourbon to smell like. It's got mostly what I want a bourbon to smell like. Oak, spiciness, cinnamon, baking spices, all that stuff. All that stuff that I always say in these. It's like, oh, you know, it smells like cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg. It does, it does. And a little bit of fruit, like dark fruit, raisins, all that jazz. All that stuff I always say this has, okay? But it's got this additional layer of chocolate pastry. So, okay, when I was growing up in Bardstown, Kentucky, there was a bakery, Haydorn's Bakery in Bardstown. And if you walked by early in the morning before they opened, like the smell that would come out of the vents, I would just want to stand there as a kid and just like soak it all up. This reminds me of that. This is like chocolate pastries in the oven, not even fresh out of the oven. We're like in the oven, wafting out of the oven. So it's got all those normal bourbon notes and some really lovely dark fruit and some really like nice earthiness. Plenty of oak, like for a 13-year bottle and bond, like plenty of oak. I almost don't want to drink it. I just want to keep smelling it. I do want to drink it, by the way, just to be clear, I do want to drink it, but so much depth and so much like sweet, decadent chocolate pastry character. Sometimes there are bourbons that you smell and you're like, this is better than average. And then sometimes there are bourbons you smell and you're like, this is better than the better than average bourbons. This is one of those. This is better than the better than average bourbon. This is what I want bourbon to smell like. Man. When they dumped these barrels, they knew this batch was special. I don't know what magic they used on these barrels, because this is probably the best Old Fitzgerald I've had. The oak here is like sweet and decadent and lovely. There's a little fruit meat spice, like blackcurrant, jams, all that sort of stuff. But really, the leather oak, light tobacco, and like sawdust, but in the best way possible. Like a sweet sawdust that's used as a seasoning on top of like a sweet cinnamon roll. That's what it is. The mouthfeel, I will say, based on, this feels like it should be 100 proof, right? Like that was what they needed to do, because this is always a bottle and bond product. This feels like 100 proof is perfect for it, which might be why it's my favorite, at least in recent memory, of the line, because the proof feels correct for the liquid. Maraschino cherry, cinnamon, white and black pepper, kind of like build toward the end of the palate, which is really nice. I'll give one small critique, tiny little critique. If I had to ask for one thing, which is way too much to ask for, a slight burst of berry tartness toward the back palate would have been maybe even better, but what do I know? This is really good. It's really, really good. Finish is long, lengthy, a little tannic in a good way, not terribly drying, super oaky. Super, super oaky with that black and white pepper spice. That kind of continue. I'm still tasting it. I had this probably 15 seconds ago, going on 20 seconds ago now. This is, I think, the third 98 I've ever given out. Like, period. And I've never given a 99 for VinePair, at least. All right, overall, 98 points for this. Probably the best modern iteration decanter series Old Fitzgerald I've ever had. But let me know if you disagree. There have been a lot of really fun releases in this lineup. They're always different, so I want to know your thoughts if you've had a chance to try this and you agree with my flavor notes and my scoring. Let me know in the comments below, but more importantly, if you disagree, let me know in the comments below, and we will debate very politely, as people on the internet always do, obviously. Until then, I'm David Thomas Tao. Thanks for tuning in.